welcome back to Nobody on the Football Zone and to another weekend preview. 3 weekend matches in the Premier League and Good Friday matches in the Premier League. Let's get straight into it in the Premier League with Manchester United against Everton. And yeah, big game for both these sides. Manchester United, their place in the Champions League still isn't 100% secure, so they need to win here. But Everton, unbeaten in 4, 3 draws though, in their quest to stay up. And only outside the relegation zone and goal difference, so they've still got a lot of work to do. But in this one, I think Manchester United at home will have too much, so I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Aston Villa as they take on Nottingham Forest, and Villa are on an incredible one, 4 wins from the last 5, and really in contention for a place in Europe. Who saw that? What an incredible job Unai Emery's done. But Steve Cooper, he's received public backing from Nottingham Forest, but we know how that generally goes. But yeah, they do need to start winning because at the moment they are in grave danger of going down. Long unbeaten streak stretching back to the 5th of February. So yeah, they need wins, but Villa are in such good form at the moment. I can't really see anything other than a Villa victory here, to be honest, especially when they're at home. Moving on then to Brentford as they take on Newcastle at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford, not on the best of runs at the moment. In at least, winless in 3, just 1 win from the last 5. But yeah, I mean, still plenty of time to turn around. They've had a great season, but yeah, they do need to get some form if they want to get into Europe. But Newcastle won the last 4, and after a Champions League spots maybe looking a bit dodgy, that now longer looks the case. And I'm definitely backing them to get the win. I'm going to say 1-0 to the Toon. Moving on then to Fulham as they take on West Ham at Craven Cottage. And Fulham coming into this one off the back of 4 losses on the trot, so something that's gone downhill a bit quickly for Marco Silva's men. But still having an incredible season, a bit like Brentford really. But yeah, West Ham, I mean, form looked like it was turning around, and then of course they had that horrendous result to Newcastle, which has really kind of set them back massively, and David Moyes is under growing pressure. They're still far from safe, and I think Fulham at home can take advantage of the turmoil and pick up the victory. Moving on then to Leicester as they take on Bournemouth at the King Power, and Leicester coming into this one obviously in a bit of crisis, managerless at the moment, on such a poor run, and now 2 points adrift from the relegation zone. It would be a massive shock if they went down, but this is a must win against Bournemouth side that's in the relegation zone despite 2 wins in the last 4. But yeah, need to cut out the losses, I think, really, if they want to stay up. But yeah, I think Leicester will come into this one as favourites at home, and I think they'll get the win. But yeah, it's a big game for both these sides, must not lose really. Moving on then to Tottenham as they take on Brighton at White Hart Lane, and Tottenham coming into this one in all sorts of turmoil, can't really get a win at the moment, just 3 draws in the last 4, need to start winning if they want any chance of the Champions League, which kind of seems to be fading away, and even just to stay in the Europa League. And with Brighton breathing down their necks, this is a big game for them, because Brighton 4 points behind but do have 2 games in hand. So yeah, they're breathing down the neck. But at home, I still back Tottenham here. But I'm far from convinced by them at the moment. But I'm going to say they are going to get the win. Moving on into Molineux, and Wolves will take on Chelsea. And Frank Lampard reappointed at Chelsea, which is just crazy to me. Why don't you just keep Potter until the end of the season? Do you know what I mean? But Wolves not in the best form either. And still right in the mix of the relegation battle. Only in front by 1 point of the drop zone. So still a lot of work for Lopetegui Spence to do. Lampard, maybe he will have a bit of a bounce, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think Chelsea will just about have enough to get the win, and I'm going to say it'll be 1-0. Moving on then to Southampton as they take on Manchester City in the 5:30 game on Saturday. And Southampton, after that loss to West Ham, they're kind of cut adrift at the bottom. Not quite yet, but it is kind of heading that way. 4 points from safety. And they just need to start picking up points ASAP. But, Man City, it doesn't come much harder. And Man City, I think we've kind of seen a Man City recently with a winning streak they've been on, which is back to their best. And I can't see anything other than really a comfortable win for City here. Moving on into Leeds as they take on Crystal Palace at Ellen Road. And Leeds will come into this one off the back of that 2-1 win against Forest. Gracia's had a really good impact since he's gone in there, so I think they will be feeling quite confident heading into this one. But Palace had to pick up a win against Leicester with Roy Hodgson in charge, so it won't be an easy game at all. It's a game that I think both teams will kind of be targeting the 3 points, obviously still in the relegation mix. But yeah, I'm going to say it'll be a draw here. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on into the big game of the weekend, and that is Liverpool taking on Arsenal at Anfield. And Liverpool form really poor recently. 3 losses and a draw in the last 4 since that 7-0 win against Manchester United. But Arsenal flying, of course, 2 wins since the Premier League resumed, 2 comfortable wins at that as well. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool need to show up here. And we saw they did when they beat Man United 7-0, and I can kind of see a similar story here, but I can still see Arsenal performing really well and getting something out of it. I'm going to say 2-2. Moving on into the Championship and all the good games taking place on Good Friday, and starting off with a big game in the race to get into the playoffs. Millwall taking on Luton, and Millwall just 1 point from the last 2, so maybe the form's got a bit sketchy all of a sudden, but Luton absolutely flying, 4 wins from 5. Millwall still got 4-point gap over Norwich in 7th. Luton 6 points ahead of Millwall, so they're comfortable. Millwall still maybe need points, but with Millwall at home, slightly worse form. I'm going to say it'll be a draw here. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on into Rotherham as they take on West Brom at New York Stadium. Both teams kind of need points at the other ends of the table. Rotherham in poor form at the moment, only 1 win from the last 5, 2 losses as well. West Brom winless in 2, but also unbeaten in 4. Depends on the way you dress it up. 5 points outside the playoffs, still could do it, but Rotherham only got a 2-point gap to Huddersfield in 22nd. So yeah, they need points as well, definitely. But I think West Brom will get the winner. I think they've got a bit too much for Rotherham. 2-0. Moving on into Blackburn as they take on Norwich, and Blackburn, another team that's kind of only 4 points inside the playoffs, but they do have a game in hand in Norwich, which is obviously who they're playing this week, but 2 losses on the trot, but Norwich is not in great form as well, winless in 4, so yeah, it's a chance for Norwich to really close the gap, or Blackburn to get in a bit and make their position more comfortable. So yeah, I'm going to say this will be a 1-0 win for Rovers. I think at home they'll have a bit too much here. Moving on into a big game in a relegation battle, Blackpool taking on Cardiff. Blackpool, after 2 losses since that really impressive QPR win, are 4 points adrift from safety. So yeah, they need a win to kind of be brought back into it. But Cardiff are only outside the relegation zone in goal difference. So if they do it, they could really kind of narrow up the pack there. So yeah, it's an intriguing game. It's a massive game for both these sides, especially for Blackpool. It's kind of do or die. For Cardiff, maybe it's not quite that, but for Blackpool, it definitely is. But I'm going to say it'll be a 2-1 win for Paul. I think at home they're going to have their own advantage and get the job done. Moving on into another team in that relegation battle, and that's QPR. And yeah, kind of been sucked into it through just the awful form they're showing at the moment. Currently 3 points above relegation zone. But yeah, the form under Ainsworth and all that has just been absolutely shocking and Critchley as well. Club just seems rotten, but Preston won through the last 4 on a really good run, so they'll be feeling confident coming into this one. Only 5 points out of the playoffs, so maybe they could do it. I'm going to say a draw here. I don't know, I feel like QPR have to get a result at some time. Reading are also in a relegation battle after being sucked into it, that 6-point deduction, which was finally confirmed this week. And yeah, they kind of need a win just to give everyone at that club a lift. Only a 1-point gap to the relegation zone, so they're right in the thick of it as well. And Birmingham, coming into this one, 3 wins in the last 4. John Eustace men have really picked up at 16th now. It's no relegation battle for them. That makes a good season for them, but they've kind of got nothing to play for. Reading definitely do. So I'm going to say Reading will pick up the 1-0 win here. Moving on then to Sheffield United as they take on Wigan at Bramall Lane. And yeah, Sheffield United 1-4 of the last 5. And yeah, now with Middlesbrough a few slip-ups, kind of look secure in their position to get into the top 2 and secure automatic promotions to Premier League. Wigan beating QPR lost them out, means they're 5 points adrift. It's going to be a tall order, but you never know if their side can keep up picking up wins. But yeah, I'm going to say this will be a 3-0 Blaze win here. I think they have too much for them. Moving on into Stoke as they take on Bristol City at the Bet365 Stadium. And Stoke, yeah, kind of really picking up points at the moment. Really strong into the season for them. It definitely plays well for next season. Unfortunately for them, too late to kind of mount a playoff push or anything like that. But there we go. But Bristol City 2 points behind them. Form not great at the moment. Only 1 win from the last 5. 2 losses in that period as well. And yeah, Stoke playing really well at home at the moment. I think they'll definitely be considered favourites for this one, and I can see them getting a win. I'll say 1-0. Moving on into Swansea as they take on Coventry at the Liberty Stadium. Swansea 2 wins on the trot now, whereas Coventry, that 4-0 loss to Stoke was really disappointing. And Swansea looking to end the season on a high. Coventry only 4 points outside the playoffs, so still not over. But yeah, they do need to improve their form to really have a chance. But it seems to be all the teams kind of in and around playoff contention are slipping up in a way that no one wants that spot. So yeah, I don't know, it's a weird one. So yeah, we'll have to say which way it goes. But I'm going to say this score here will be a draw, 1-1. Moving on into Watford as they take on Huddersfield at Vicarage Road. And yeah, Watford coming into this one not in the greatest form, only 1 win from 5. Chris Wilder's new management hasn't really had the desired effect, but Neil Warnock finally working his magic at Huddersfield, 2 wins on the trot, and suddenly from the position where they look down, they're now right in the thick of things. And yeah, Watford, this won't be an easy game for them at all, but I'm going to say at home they are going to have enough to get the job done, but it really could go either way. I'm going to say 2-0 Watford. Moving on then to Sunderland as they take on Hull at the Stadium of Light. And Sunderland coming into this one, not in the greatest form, only 1 win from 5. But Hull as well seems to like drawing games at the moment. So yeah, it's a game that you feel could go either way. Both of these sides kind of mid-table, not much for them to really play for. If you know what I mean. So yeah, could be kind of a drab mid-table end of the season fair, but who knows. I'm going to say it'll be a 2-1 Sunderland win. I think at home they'll just have a bit too much. Moving on then to Middlesbrough as they take on Burnley at the Riverside. And yeah, this is a game where Burnley could maybe cinch promotion. But yeah, who knows? It's still a long shot, but you never know. But Middlesbrough, yeah, it will be disappointing the way they pieced out. I still think they do have a good chance of the playoffs, but yeah, automatic promotion. It looks a long shot from here, but they need to start off picking up a win here to have any chance. Unfortunately, with the way Burnley playing at the moment, I think it'll be tough, but I do think they can pick up a draw at home. I'm going to say 1-1. But anyway, guys, that's it for video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. This is what's going to stand by for daily football news and cross channels coming on. Greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.